How's it going, everybody? This is Matt from Spark, and today we're going to talk about the Javelin Prototype 2.
Alright guys, so we are watching live the unveil of the Prototype 2 of the Javelin. This is the first time that we see this. We have Matt here, which he's going to go over all the details.
Handlebars of the bike. On your right hand side, you're going to see two buttons. Now this is really important. One button activates a turbo. This is an overdrive. It will push way more amps into the system for a short period of time. You can't hold this turbo down all the time. And there are waiting periods in between when you can use it. So you got to make sure that you time it right. The other button is very unique. If we look down at the controls, if you switch the toggle to the down position, that lower button is a cruise control function.
I like that vintage style in the gauges.
That's not too exciting. But if we now flip it up into the top mode, you've entered something that we call game mode. Game mode will remind you of some of those older Nintendo racing games. So what does that mean? Well, depending on a few parameters, you will have the ability to use the turbo, or you will have the equivalent of what's commonly known as the red shell. Yes, the Javelin has a radio transmitter in it. That allows it to connect to other Javelins. And when you're on a racetrack, you can use your deactivating button to take down other riders out there. Now, it doesn't take them down the entire time, but it provides about a 1.5 seconds of throttle cut. So think about it, you're on the track. You can either decide to use your turbo to pass somebody, or you can use your deactivate button and take somebody's power out for a 1.5 seconds. This is all leading to something that we are working on in the background, which is a racing league. We want to work with other electric bike manufacturers to begin establishing a racing league around the country. Cars,
that is big, guys. That
all the way
is
up to
big.
Formula 1.
Racing between electric bikes?
We have motorcycles or dirt bikes. With the popularity of e-bikes on the rise, we think it's time that a low-speed racing league gets developed. If we look at the controls on
I was saying that for that.
You have your main motorcycle functions. You have your turn signals, you have your high beam, you have your horn, but there is a new lever, and that is a active regen throttle, if you want to call it that. It's not really a throttle, though. If we look at other e-bike companies, the regen function is more like a light switch. It's either on or off. This new lever allows you to gradually add or remove regen. When you ride the Javelin, it's very uncommon to actually use the main hydraulic brakes. Most of the time, you are throttling with this hand and pressing that regen lever to brake. Let's talk more about some of the components that we've used on the bike. So, working our way down the bike is the controller. So the controller we have used is completely open source, and we're going to keep it open source. You can actually connect to it using Bluetooth or a computer app. You can get into the programming and dial everything. So if you'd like to prioritize efficiency, you can do that. If you want to prioritize just high speed all the time, you can do that too. There's also the ability to engage something called flux weakening, which is a little techy, but it would give you a little bit higher top speed at the compromise of battery life. You can even adjust the throttle, the way that throttle feels on the output. So if you want it to be really torquey right off the bat, you can do that, or if you want it to be a slower ramp up, you can adjust that too. So continuing to push backwards is the battery. So It is a fully.
So I guess he's gonna
removable
have
battery. Not
a.
only does that lighten
He's
the
gonna
bike
have
up, so if you want to bring it
an
inside or
app
put
to
it into a
control
vehicle, it's a lot
the
easier.
settings.
But more importantly, a lot of people will keep the bike in their garage or something, and they just want to take the battery inside to charge it. If you fold the seat to the side, the battery now slides out, and you can bring it in.
That's
that
good.
Battery
Taking out the battery.
A motor in the back that is 3,000 watts. So by standard, it will be a 72 volt, 3,000 watt system. And it's running a 26-inch wheel. This combination is really efficient. It provides good torque, really good high top speed, and just amazing range. What's interesting is we have specified a controller that is way over what this bike actually needs. And we have decided to do a hub motor instead of a mid-drive for a very specific reason. This is not a dirt bike. You're not taking this off jumps. So prioritizing a good balance from the front to rear wheel is not as important. So we can do a rear motor and not worry about taking a jump and having the rear wheel dip down. But more importantly, these hub drives have become very reliable and are very easy to replace. What does that mean? If something happens with the motor, changing it out is as easy as changing a tire. You just undo the two axle nuts, pop it off, go to the controller, unplug it, and pop in a new one. Well, there's an interesting side effect to that. Because we use a very overpowered controller for what this thing needs, theoretically, you could put on a different motor. So we've tried to make this bike not only easy to repair, but easy to upgrade and adjust down the road. Some other interesting features on the bike would be the fact that we actually utilized spools on the rear swing arm, and that allows you to use a nice motorcycle stand so you can pop it up and work on the bike and not have to worry about that thing falling over on you or test the motor or do whatever you need to do. As far as design goes with the Javelin, the bike you see is the second prototype. But what you should know is we have already finished working on the third design. The third design will no longer be a prototype bike. Instead, what we would call it is a pre-production. Well, this gets into the timeline of the launch. Our process will be finish this second prototype in street test, build 3 pre-production bikes, and send them around the country. We're going to get into how we're going to do that, but just get ready. You're going to start seeing these bikes around the country, and people are going to be riding them that you know, and you'll be able to even probably test ride these pre-production bikes depending on where you live in the country. Those pre-production bikes will run for about 3 months throughout the entire winter, and we will take all that information to refine, and then we will launch the bike in the spring of next year. One thing that some people have noticed about Spark is we almost never show renders. We never show graphics of like what the bike is gonna look like because inevitably it never comes out the same way in real life. Anytime we show you anything on the Javelin, just realize that it is a real product. It's something that has really been riding on the road, and it's not just something that's been stuck in a computer. We think that's important because, you know, we've seen a lot of other companies launching bikes that they make a fancy graphic up, and it's never been refined, it's never even been tested on the road, and then they go to launch it, and then they have problems, and that causes that bike to get a year or 2 of delays before it comes out. The way we do this, we can be very confident. So, that's the Javelin. You're going to start seeing more information on Prototype 2. We'll be showing this thing on the road quite a bit more. And we really want to hear what you guys think about it, what we can do to improve this design, what parts do you really like, what do you not like. The more information we can get from you, the better, and the better the product is going to turn out. That's it for now. Hope you guys liked what you saw, and get ready for a lot more videos coming out on this bike in the next week or so. All right.
All right, so there you go. So just to give you a recap, this thing is going to be fully customizable. This is something that people really like. They really like to have a bike that is open for you to do anything that you want. The motor is going to be in the rear, so it's not going to be in the middle. The way I feel about that is if he can make it that the torque is good, I will be happy, because that's something that I love about my Sur Ron, that when you twist the throttle, it goes. Especially when you're sitting on a red light and you have cars next to you, and then maybe when you're riding a Super 73 and you hit that throttle, you just stay on the same spot. Yeah, that's not a good look. So that's why that is something that I would love to have in the Javelin. The other thing is that he's gonna have 3 beta bikes. So probably he's gonna send it around different YouTubers, so they can test it out. They're gonna report back to him, so they can see any issues that come with the bike. And I gotta tell you, this is something that I like about Spark Cycles, because it's like Matt said, they really test their product, and not in secret. They will show you the bike, and they will show you what the bike is doing. I think it's something that says a lot about the company. It's something that they really want a good product. That's their main focus. They want to make sure that they have something that people are going to love. And so far, the products that they have has been having a lot of good reviews. I know people that have switched completely from a Super 73 to a Spark Cycle Bandit. So right now they have a pretty track record, and that's a lot for you to say, comparing to a company that sells more products than you. They are planning to have that bike in production or pre-production in spring. I would love to see that bike in person. I think it looks good. But the things that I probably would change, or I'm not a big fan of, will be the tires. I think I don't know, they look a little bit skinny for that bike. But the frame, I like the frame. I like the handles. This was a presentation by Matt, the CEO of Spark Cycle Works, with the new product, the Javelin. This is something that we are going to follow up. Hopefully we get a chance to see the bike in person and have a group ride and see what this bike is all about. This is it for the video. I'll see you guys on the next one. Ciao.